Unit 17, the first national monument. Devil's Tower, the first national monument in America, could almost be mistaken for the stump of an enormous tree. Its sheer rock sides sweep up from a broad base until they cut off abruptly at the flat summit, rising more than 1,000 feet in the middle of the gently rolling plains of Wyoming. The massive column of rock looks as though it was dropped down into this location from a different time and place. In a sense, it was. Devil's Tower is a relic of the past, when the molten rock of the Earth's core forced its way to the surface to form the throat of a volcano. As the centuries passed, the rock cooled and hardened, shrinking and cracking into long columns. Born in fire and fury, Devil's Tower was then shaped by the slow, gentle work of wind and water. The outer layers of the volcano were worn away until the hard core stood completely exposed. Small wonder that an Indian legend described Devil's Tower as being formed by supernatural powers. The legend says that when 7 girls were attacked by bears, they took refuge on top of a small rock and appealed to the rock god for help. The god caused the rock to grow and to lift the girls far above the ground, while its sides were scored by the claws of the angry bears. Even today, says the legend, the girls can be seen above the towering rock as 7 shining stars in the night sky. Unit 18, an artistic mystery. Italian sculptor and painter Michelangelo was one of the most remarkable artists who ever lived. Working in Rome and Florence in the early 1500s, he produced both religious and secular art that is still marveled at today. But it appears that Michelangelo could be his own harshest critic. Michelangelo was an old, sick man when he began carving a sculpture known as the Florentine Pietà. Pietà is a sculpture of the Virgin Mary holding the dead body of Jesus. He worked on the sculpture only at night, and sometimes was in such pain that he could not work at all. Michelangelo intended to have the huge, almost 8 feet high sculpture as part of his own tombstone. Included in the work was the figure of an elderly, suffering man. In describing the sculpture, Michelangelo's biographer wrote of its great beauty and sorrow. But one day, after 10 years of labor, the artist suddenly turned on his work. He attacked it with a sledgehammer, chopping off arms and legs. He would have destroyed the sculpture entirely if an assistant had not dragged him away. Later, the work was repaired by another assistant, but in an imperfect way. What prompted Michelangelo to almost destroy one of his greatest works? Did he feel he had made a mistake in the composition or the carving? Did he discover a hidden flaw in the marble? Scientists have begun studying the repaired statue taking 3D photos of it from every angle so that they can study its structure on computer. Perhaps someday they will have a clue as to what motivated Michelangelo